So after working in video production over the last 10 years, I've learned quite a few hacks to save me lots of time, money, and peace of mind. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through my 10 favorite filmmaking and video production hacks that anybody can learn on their own. So this first hack has to do with getting reliable audio when recording any sort of live stream or podcast or even YouTube style talking video. And that is using one of these wireless audio units like the Hollyland Lark Max 2 wireless audio system as a backup audio source and attaching that magnetically to your boom pole or your microphone stand, whatever you're using, as a backup audio solution. Now, the reason this is the #1 hack on my list is because it is so simple to execute, but it really can save you in a pinch. In case something goes wrong with your main audio microphone or your recording device, whatever, you have a high quality backup. And this one right here from Hollyland, their Lark Max 2, has 32-bit float internal recording. So it's basically a mini audio recorder that records really high quality audio. There's also noise reduction, and if you want, you can also send the audio directly to your camera at the same time as a backup. So to execute, it's honestly really easy. Just take a little magnet and attach it to your mic stand, and then grab your microphone and plop it on right there, and you are good to go. If you want to, you can hit record on one of these units, and now the light turns red, and you are instantly recording high quality backup 32-bit float audio. Now our second hack also has to do with audio, and it might sound kind of similar, but it's actually very different. It's recording a safety track when you're recording audio at a lower level than your main audio track is being recorded at. So really simply what this would be is whatever you set your audio gain levels to, maybe it's like a level of 10 for your video, right? And you set your audio gain to 10. Let's say you actually speak too loud or your talent speaks too loud and your audio clips because you set it to level 10. Well, a safety track is a feature that allows you to record a backup audio file at a lower level. So maybe it actually sets your audio level to a level of 5 so that in the event that somebody or yourself talks really loudly, you still have usable audio that has not peaked. Now, I'm actually using this safety feature right now with the Lark Max 2, and I'll show you what it looks like on the back of our camera monitor. So you can see that the audio levels for channel 1 are a little bit louder than they are for channel 2. So even if I speak like really loud and my audio begins to peak, I know that my second channel of audio should be recoverable because it's set to a lower level. Now you can also do safety track recording with different sorts of audio devices like a Zoom H6 portable recorder or this audio top handle that comes with like the Sony FX3 or FX30. There's different ways that you can do this, but typically you might have to run like a couple of different audio cables. Like for a wedding, if you wanted to get backup audio coming out of a soundboard, you would plug an XLR cable into port 1 and port 2 for your audio and then set their audio gains a little bit differently. So by leveraging this safety track recording workflow, you're able to have that peace of mind knowing that you have a backup audio file, and this could save you a ton of time and even money to not have to re-record something later because your audio peaked. Now our third hack is to leverage what we call bounce lighting. So instead of pointing and positioning a light directly at yourself, you can actually instead bounce the light off of a really soft or reflective surface, particularly like your ceiling or a white wall. You can even use like a little bounce card or even a foam board. Go to like the dollar store, Walgreens, pick up something for like $1 or $2 that's like a little poster board, and you can use that as a reflective surface to bounce the light off of. And the reason why this is such a great hack is, first and foremost, it saves you a bunch of time. You don't have to set up a bunch of diffusion layers and modification. You can just take a pretty small and hard light source and point it towards a larger surface area that's reflective and get a really soft light source in about a minute or two. I'm actually using bounce lighting right now. I'll flip my hat around so you can see just the way that this light just kind of wraps around the scene. It's really soft and pleasing on my skin tones. We don't see a lot of harsh shadows or sharp angles. I'll switch my lighting right now so you can see what it would look like if I more pointed the light directly at myself. It's a lot more harsh. You get harsh angles around my chin and my nose. So if you're somebody who likes nice, soft beauty lighting, soft lighting on your subject, consider trying this bounce approach, and it's also gonna save you a bunch of time. Now the next hack has to do with filters. So filters for your lenses in particular. And the hack is purchasing the biggest filter size for the biggest lens that you have. So this is the Sony 24-70 f2.8, and it uses an 82mm filter thread size. So that's the biggest diameter lens that I own. And the issue with lens filters are they can get super expensive. For a really nice ND filter or mist filter, you're running up like hundreds of dollars for these filters. And if you're trying to purchase one for every single lens thread type that you have, it can get super expensive. So the hack here is to actually just purchase the largest filter size that you have, and then purchase something called step up and step down rings to be able to adapt that filter to different size lens threads. So when I do this, any filter that I purchase for my Sony 24-70, I know I can adapt to all of my smaller lenses, and those filters are gonna work just fine. And that's gonna save me hundreds of dollars in the long run, and also save me a bunch of space in my travel bag when I am traveling for shoots. I don't have to fit in 7 different filter sizes. I can just bring the one main filter and then some step up rings for each of the different lens sizes that I'm bringing, and I'm good to go. All right, so the 5th hack on our list is to leverage stock footage. If you've never used stock footage before, it's honestly such an essential part of being an editor or a filmmaker, because you can't always afford to go out and shoot some epic drone footage or get these really tight, like macro looking shots. And stock footage always helps me fill in the gaps of my story that I don't necessarily have the time to go out and shoot. I typically use story blocks for all of my stock footage needs, and I'm able to sort of like sift through their library and find usually what I'm looking for to have a little insert shot or a transitional shot, and maybe like a wedding film or a concert film that I want like an exterior shot of a city that I wasn't able to fly in a drone in because there's restrictions and whatnot. So stock footage really comes in clutch in these situations, and it saves you so much time and money to not have to go film these things yourself. So I'll leave a link to my favorite stock footage service down in the description below. Now our next tip has to deal with file management, everybody's favorite subject. I know each morning I wake up and I start to think to myself, like right as I roll out of bed, I'm like, I cannot wait to manage my files this morning. Said nobody ever. But nonetheless, it's still an important part of any video production workflow. So the hack here is to create a duplicate copy of your files while your project is still being edited and produced. I have so many of these hard drives laying around my studio, and truthfully, probably about 3 or 4 of them actually have failed me a time or two, and I have lost files because I didn't necessarily have every single file on those drives backed up. So it's really important while you're working on specific projects, like this video right now, I'm gonna take all of the files and back them up to a specific drive that I'm editing from. And before I even get deep into my project, I'm going to clone all of those files to a second backup hard drive so that in the event that my main editing drive fails for any reason, I still have a backup copy of all of those files in case I need to access them. And this is the reality. People are just disorganized. You move things around, you lose things, you delete files on accident. So it's really nice to just at the beginning of your project, as soon as you shoot your content, copy it from your SD card to a main editing drive. And before you do anything else, copy it to a backup drive so you have those files in case anything happens. Now, these next couple hacks have to do with post-production editing. So organizing and saving time and energy in your post-production software, which is where a lot of us spend a ton of time while editing. So the first hack is actually editing your source footage instead of the timeline footage that is in your timeline. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. So right here, I put this clip on the timeline. This is just a shot of me talking, and I'm going to cut it up into like multiple little sections right here. Maybe like you were editing your A-roll and you've already cut it all up and edited it, but then you realize you want to make like some adjustments to the color or to the scaling, maybe like you want to zoom in on the clips, and you don't want to have to individually edit every single one of those clips. You'd rather just do all of it at the same time. Well, good news is you can actually do this. So what you want to do is, let's say we click on this clip right here. And for the sake of this tutorial, let's just increase the exposure a bunch. And on this clip now it's way too bright, but we can see for the other clips, the exposure is still the same. But what if I wanted to apply this adjustment to all of the clips at the same time? Well, I'll reset this right here. So instead of editing this clip on the timeline, I can actually click the source icon right here. And same thing, if you go over here to your effects controls, you can click source. So we can see this is the clip in the timeline. And instead, let's edit the source footage. So now we're gonna increase the exposure on our source footage 5 stops or so. And now as we skim across each of the clips, the exposure has increased 5 stops across all of them instead of just the one that we were working on. Now this works on other effects as well. If I wanted to apply the invert channel effect, I can click on my source content, drag the invert effect onto that section right there. And now that invert effect has been added to every single one of the clips instead of just one individually. Now our next editing hack is to color code clips in your timeline. So you can assign different colors to different portions of your video to visually see and organize your footage based on what content is happening at that section of your video. So if we take a look at this timeline down here, we can see that there's different color coded sections, right? So there's like a green section and then a purple, and then over here we got like a mango kind of orange section and then a yellow for the outro. So I can visually see these different time-stamped sections This is so helpful to know if you were working on like this green section right here. You can visually see I'm working on this time-bound section of my edit. And then if you zoom back out and you need to go work on the purple section because you know you were missing a little gap right here, you can go and find that color-coded section. Now, if you wanted to change the color of one of these in Premiere, you would just right-click and select Label, and then assign a certain color to that clip or a series of clips. But let me show you what this would look like if I did not color code everything. I will make everything the same color. I label it all iris. And then you just look at this. I mean, it's kind of nice to see everything one color. Personally, it looks really uniform, but I have no idea where anything is. I don't know which section is which or what ends where. It's very confusing and cluttered, which is why I love to color code my videos. Saves me a ton of time and energy. Now, our next hack for recording videos is to leverage a teleprompter, which maybe you've heard of teleprompters before, but have you heard of this specific teleprompter right here? This is the Elgato prompter. And this thing is honestly one of my favorite pieces of tech I have ever purchased. So this thing is different than a regular teleprompter because it's not just a teleprompter where you see your words scroll on the screen, which you can do that if you want to just treat it like a traditional teleprompter. But in fact, it's actually an extended display that you can connect to your computer to use for live streaming, for coaching calls, for Zoom calls, or as like a presentation aid so you can see your PowerPoint directly in front of you as you're working through a slideshow. And all of that, you're able to look directly into the lens while you're recording your content. And as you're looking into the lens, you can see your documents, you can see your slideshows. Or if you're on a Zoom call, you can look directly into the eyes of the person that you're speaking to while looking into the camera lens. Anytime I use this tool, I save a ton of time too when recording content because I can see my notes. My personal preference is not to have it in teleprompter mode. I actually like to just look directly into the screen and see my Google Doc with my bullet pointed outline and my flow of notes so I know where I'm headed in the next section of my video. So basically, anytime I'm recording content, I'm probably looking at a Google Doc while I'm trying to talk to you. Now, right now, I'm just using kind of a little vlog stick or whatever. But for the most part, if I'm at my talking head setup right here, I have my Elgato prompter set up so I can see my notes in front of me and it saves me a ton of time. And the 10th and final hack that I have adopted as a part of my video workflow is shooting at a higher frame rate than something like 24 or 30 frames per second for my B-roll footage in particular. So right now I'm recording in 24 frames per second, and I know that I'm gonna deliver this video in 24 FPS. But for all of the B-roll of this video, I'm shooting at a higher frame rate, like 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, which then gives me the ability to leverage that kind of footage in different ways. It also makes it really helpful if I want to repurpose this content for a different video in the future. I specifically do this all the time if I'm shooting live events. So if I'm filming a wedding or a concert or any sort of conference promo sort of video, I'm always shooting in like 60 frames per second for all of the standard live event shots so that I can slow that footage down on my timeline later. I can't tell you how many times I've been hired as an editor on a project and the camera operators didn't shoot in a higher frame rate, but then the creative direction team is wanting me to like slow footage down, and I'm not a miracle worker. I need those extra frames to get that slow motion footage. So it's something I do a lot of the time if I know I might want to convert some of this footage to slow motion. Now, if you're already using some of these hacks, let me know down in the comments below, or if there's some other hacks that you think would be really helpful to share with our YouTube community, go ahead and drop those in a comment. And if you want to check out more about this microphone that I've been using in this entire video, the LarkMax 2, this thing is awesome. I'll leave a link right here so you can check out this microphone, and then I'll see you in the next video.